Hello, hello, MouseHunt. Welcome. Feedback Friday, January 12, 2008. How's everybody in the chat doing this morning? Seems like everyone's chatting away. We'll have quite a few people with us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? 15 or 16. Hello. Whoa, in the chat blanked out. There we go, it's back. Hello to you as well, Dennis, KDM, Jaren, Julia, Ben, Purple, spelled with some interesting looking characters there, Maz, Suzanne. Hello everyone. It's been a while since we've done a Feedback Friday here. I think Jacob's been doing them the past few weeks, been a little bit busy. But we're back and we'll start things off with an announcement that the Lunar New Year event will come to an end on Wednesday, February 21. That is next Wednesday. We were originally planning to end the event on Tuesday, which would have been 2 weeks, as we were saying, but in light of a few server issues we were having, the game was a little unavailable for a while. We extend the event by a day. And on a related note, we were a little bit hesitant. Some hunters were talking about glitch paw mice as well, because the game was a little bit up and down Saturday evening and Saturday morning. We're a little hesitant to release glitch paw mice because there wasn't overwhelming positive feedback, at least in terms of adding new mice while the Lunar New Year event was going on, and just knowing exactly how the glitch paw mice would sort of affect the balance of everything, because even with Valentine's and the sporty winter mice, we were very careful to have it not affect the drop rate of candles, and we just didn't want to rush release glitch paws and then have it actually affect any of the sort of progression or timing of the Lunar New Year event. So we held off, but we are thinking about maybe releasing them once the event comes to an end. So by all means, please let us know what you think. If you'd like to see maybe a few glitch paws for a day or two when the event comes to an end, or if that would be a little bit weird, if you think like, what are these doing around now? Like I said, we were very meticulous with the sports mice and the Valentine's mice to have them not affect the encounter rate of the Lunar New Year mice, so that it wouldn't affect farming dumpling cheese, or more specifically, farming candles. Hello, Brawny Mouse. Hey, Dave. Good to see you. Hello back to you. Good morning. Good morning to you as well, Jay. Jonathan says, wish the costume dog mouse was a bit more common when hunting with Nyangauda. I think it's very comparable to last year, but as we do add more mice, it sort of changes things a little bit, but I believe we took it from some of the other mice, like the calligraphy mouse and the red pocket envelope mouse. Jonathan has a suggestion. Why not do glitch paw mice the way that relic hunter mice? That has been on our mind as well, to do the bonus hunts. That said, I don't know, and then you can let us know what you think in the chat as well, but the bonus mice don't seem to be, I don't know if popular is quite the word, but they seem like they're a little bit, not weird, but they're a little bit different. And so we've been a little bit hesitant to add more of those bonus encounters. That said, it works really well with prize mice, because there's just no other way to put them everywhere in the game and not have them affect anything else. And the relic hunter, similarly, you get feedback saying, hey, I'm arming my Galleon Gouda on the SS Huntington, and then I didn't realize the relic hunter would show up sort of halfway through the night and ate a few pieces, and that was a little frustrating. So we kind of wanted to keep glitch paw mice normal, but it's on our minds to maybe turn it into a bonus hunt. Seems some pretty positive feedback or agreement to maybe do glitch paws at the end of the event. That said, I think it was late at night on a Saturday. Didn't want to sit down and have to figure out, okay, well, what should the encounter rate of the glitch paw mice be, and what do they need to drop as to not really affect anything else. And just from a feedback perspective as well, we had a lot of players concerned that the sports mice and the Valentine mice would sort of ruin the Lunar New Year event because you'd be capturing them or they'd be eating all your dumpling cheese, but we were very careful not to have that affect the drop rate of candles. That said, I understand sort of the feedback loop there, right? The different mice show up, you're arming this cheese that you're really attached to, and then the rules have suddenly changed, and it can be difficult to, without knowing all the behind-the-scenes stuff, know exactly what's happening or to be certain that it's not affecting anything. So we kind of took that feedback to heart, and that's something we'll keep in mind. Audio is cutting in and out a little bit, says the Brawny Mouse in the chat. Well, other people let me know if it's an issue for everybody. I can maybe move this a little closer. I don't know if the mic is just far away. Seems like it's okay for other people. All right, well, might just be your machine. Hopefully it's nothing seriously wrong on my end. Which brings us to a couple little behind-the-scenes things as well. I'll switch up the slide for a few teaser images here. So what we're busy working on at the moment is the 10th birthday event, and it's hard to believe, but MouseHunt is going to celebrate its 10th birthday in March, which is very exciting. This year's event, we're going to make a departure from the cupcake theme and instead have hunters traveling through time. So you'll have to get ready to take your hunter's horn up to 88 miles per hour and visit 2008 through 2017. So MouseHunt came out in 2008. You'll be able to revisit sort of each year of MouseHunt, at least in a sort of nostalgic way. I mean, not literally the game is rolled back to the way it was during that year, but you get to go back, hunt for some of the mice that were released that year, some of the iconic mice, and just sort of re-experience, or if you're a newer player, experience that for the first time of what mice and what releases were available that year. Seen some guesses about the mouse. Is he the Taylor mouse? That's a pretty good guess, actually. It's a little bit of a hint, a teaser at the theme of the event. We'll kind of see if anyone can kind of take a guess at how time travel and a Taylor mouse would fit together, because there's some pretty good puns that we were able to fit in there. Ellie traps from 2008 to now. No, definitely not. Yeah, Ellie means Ellie. It's not coming back. That might be worth noting as well. There's some concern with the Lunar New Year event about the dog skin for the Archimagus trap. That is a reward for getting to 500 feet. That skin is not limited edition. You will have a chance to earn it next year as well. So getting your lantern up to 500 feet is certainly a difficult task. I know a lot of hunters might do it just by the skin of their knuckles, and several hunters may not make it to 500, but rest assured you'll have a chance to earn the skin again next year. So it's not necessarily an expectation to have to get up to 500. That said, plus 50 luck is certainly nice to have. Some pretty good guesses in the chat there of how time travel and a tailor, of weaving. A stitch in time, says Maz there. And I don't have it up on the screen here, but there is an item that we have called the Fabric of Time that you will be collecting. Let's see if I can find that. Am I on the right branch? Yes. I'll see if I can add the Fabric of Time up here as a teaser, because odds are I don't think I'm going to be doing a Feedback Friday before the birthday. I am off next Friday, and next Friday, oh, maybe that actually the following Friday. That's when we'll be sort of testing things. 3179. Let's see if I can add an image to this. Ooh, the chat's flying by. I'll check on the chat in a second. Media file, sure. What is the name of this image? 3179. 3179. There it is. Let's move these pins around here. Alright. Just like the color on that, on the fabric. You want to swirl. KDM in the chat asks, will this event be better than the cupcake event? Well, I mean, hopefully all the events are good. It'll be yet to be seen. That is up for hunters to decide. Umli asks, if I'm saying your name right there, will it be possible to keep unused candles? Yes, you can keep them for next year. The Lunar New Year candle event is certainly one of the more popular events that we do. And hunters seem to have a lot of fun with it every year. So, I mean, by all means, currently anyway, the plan is to do another Lunar New Year candle event next year. That said, that's a year away. Plans may change, but tentatively that is the plan. So you can hold on to your candles. Seems like a reasonably safe bet. That said, if you have time, you may as well light off as many as you can, just in case. Second week of March asks Ziming. Let me double check our calendar. March. I believe the birthday will arrive. The birthday event will arrive on March 5, maybe March 6. Somewhere around there, and our birthday is, I believe, the 7th. Let me double check when I signed up for MouseHunt. I joined on March 7th, 2008. So yes, our birthday's on the 7th of March, 7th day of March, so it will be live before that. Quad candle asks KDM for next year. I'm not sure. I don't think we would do quadruple loot. We'll see. Who knows? You can let us know what you think of that, but that might be a whole lot of loot. Might be too many oodles of loot. Ranger asks, will Ronza be joining the birthday? We don't know what Ronza's up to. We're not in touch with her. She surprises us as much as hunters when she shows up. Scene, if I'm saying your name correctly there, just joined in. What's this feedback all about? Thanks for joining us. We're just hanging out with Mouse Hunters. A couple announcements, some teasers about the birthday event coming up and the spring egg hunt as well. Michelle asks if I'm coming to the London meet. I believe so. I think Brian wanted the original 4 to come to London for the 10th birthday celebration, which is Giorgio, Jacob, Brian, and myself. Kaz says, I wish she'd start coming more often with smaller hauls again like she did originally. I think she always brings something for everyone, but sort of as the years go on and there's more and more epic traps, she might bring something that's a little bit more comparable to something that already exists in the game, and so it's got to be a pretty big ticket item then. When it's something that's going to compare to Sandstorm Monster Bots and Temporal Turbines, that they take a lot of time and a lot of gold investment to earn those traps. So when she shows up, if she's going to bring something that kind of either augments that or at least holds a candle to it, forgive the pun, then it needs to be a pretty big ticket item. All right, and the last little behind the scenes, something else that we're working on is the Spring Egg Hunt, which is another very popular event enjoyed by many mouse hunters, and it's making its return. I don't know how many spring egg hunts we have done in this style, but it's certainly quite a few at this point. It's going to follow the 10th birthday event, so it'll be the next thing to come out after the 10th birthday event. We're just starting to plan eggs and maybe a few new goodies, trying to brainstorm ways to spice it up a little bit or add something new little challenges or something new to take on to make the event feel fresh, because as I said, we've done it quite a few times in a row. That said, it's also a whole lot of fun. So I am, on a note, Franco is experimenting with an idea, and I'm interested to get feedback from hunters. He came up with the idea of an egg carton, which would work a bit like treasure maps. So sort of the elevator pitch would be treasure maps for spring egg hunt eggs, where you get a egg carton, and it's labeled with certain eggs, and you go loot those eggs to fill up your egg carton, and then you get a special bonus reward for filling up the egg carton, whether that be all the eggs in it are doubled, so you fill up a 6-pack or a 12-pack of eggs, and then you claim the reward and you get those eggs plus all those eggs again, or maybe just something special based on what kind of eggs you put in it, although that building all those drop tables might be a little bit too much work to pull off. Julia says it sounds excellent. Excellent. That is difficult to say. I appreciate the puns. We are a fan of puns here. This will be the 7th egg hunt, says Deborah. Thank you for looking that up. First one was in 2012. 7 successful egg hunts. A lot of S's, alliteration. Aiden asks, what's up with Larry's? It's over 100,000 temporal turbines. I think that was a little bit of a joke about the narrative of the Great Winter Hunt a couple of years ago, where he was supplying all the temporal turbine engines to all hunters, so he had this huge stock of them. We just never took them away from Larry. He seemed attached to them. Egg carton equal cupcake orders. It would be kind of similar to the cupcake orders, but you have a little bit more autonomy over chasing down the eggs. It's a little bit, you run around the whole kingdom. So I'd compare it a little bit to like treasure maps, but for eggs. So it feels similar to a treasure map, but there might be some eggs where there's more than one way to get it, which is interesting. See how you would pick the egg carton or how you'd be assigned it would need a little bit of work to make sure you're getting an egg carton that you can complete, and you have a little bit of autonomy over the difficulty of the egg carton, because obviously if you had one that was full of, go get a Shelder egg, followed by a Minotaur egg, followed by a Warmonger egg, it might be a little too challenging. But that said, if you had the choice somehow of being able to choose from several cartons, so like that one's a little too hard, I'll try this one. But some interesting feedback. Seems like hunters are curious about the idea in the chat. So we might explore that. By all means, too, looking for suggestions for new eggs to add. Now that said, I think it was last year. I think that kind of bit us in the behind a little bit. We asked for a lot of suggestions from eggs for hunters, and we just started writing them down. We said, okay, all the suggestions, let's put them in. But a trend we noticed, I think, is hunters like to suggest extremely difficult eggs, and I think maybe excitement over over finding those eggs versus the reality of, hold on, that's going to be a really big challenge, didn't quite line up in hunters' minds. So I think we had a little bit, I wouldn't say backlash, but some of those epically difficult to find eggs created a little bit of frustration. So that said, this year I don't think we want to add too many obscenely difficult to find eggs. You know, one or two here and there I think is nice, is the feedback we got last year. But when we add a quantity of eggs, to make sure that you have some good choice and some good strategy to chase down those eggs. Definitely the shelter egg is sort of the pinnacle of difficult egg. And Purple says, not too keen on a map-based event. I think you misunderstood. I was just making a comparison that egg cartons kind of feel a bit like treasure maps, where it's a list of goals. You know, go capture these mice. Wouldn't literally be a treasure map. Egg carton would be a personal goal rather than helpers. I could see it working either way. You can let us know what you think, but I could certainly see either a team-based element to it or going solo, or maybe there's 6 packs that you can do by yourself, or you can go and get the big baker's dozen pack carton of eggs to fill up, but you have to invite your friends to help you fill up the egg carton. Do a fulmina egg, suggests Ranger. I think that's a pretty safe bet. By all means, that isn't too difficult of an egg, but thematically it feels like a mouse that needs an egg to collect. More Pheroma Rift eggs. That's another good suggestion. Axel suggested it would, or said it would be funny if the cook mouse dropped a scrambled egg. I like that so much. I'm going to message Franco that suggestion right now. Where is he? Suggestion for egg. Scrambled egg dropped by cook mouse. I message Franco. Franco's kind of pulling together a lot of these ideas and suggestions, trying to prep the spring egg hunt. Trying to get a little bit ahead of ourselves. We got a little bit behind. Probably started around Halloween. I think we hit some challenges and we fell about a week behind schedule where we wanted to be. And then with the Great Winter Hunt as well, I think we lost maybe another 1 or 2 weeks behind schedule where we wanted to be. And that led to a little bit of crunch time. And it's difficult in event season because we have a lot of events where, you know, the deadline's not very flexible. So if you have sort of some challenges or you get stuck on something, it can be a little worrisome. So we're trying to get back out ahead of ourselves, where we're working on several releases ahead rather than, I feel like as soon as we finish something, we're like frantically testing it, getting out the door. So Franco's trying to get us back ahead by getting the spring egg hunt organized. And then hopefully we can even look to what comes after the spring egg hunt, even before we start working on the spring egg hunt. Cass asks, Sunken City expansion, what type of crossroads would you swim east or west? Well, to be honest, we haven't fleshed that out too much. And again, it might be a good idea to remind us, grain of salt, kind of went through some of our ideas for 2018, I think a few weeks ago on Feedback Friday, to kind of test the waters. Got some interesting responses from hunters to see, you know, what sort of ideas they'd be most excited about. But by all means, like I said, sometimes timelines and priorities change. So I don't know if the Sunken City expansion will be something we're commit to doing, but it seemed like there was interest from hunters, and we were curious about it as well. Can Fulmina egg have a baby dragon inside, suggests Purple. Might be a little morbid, I don't know, crack it open and a dragon falls out. Maybe a plushy one. Darn wrong, suggests. Just let the cook mouse drop 12 types of eggs and make a cook egg carton. It's interesting as well. And Sean with a suggestion to actually go and do some baking. Go get your flour from the windmill, get an egg from the cook, bake it into a nice little cake for the birthday. Although the spring egg hunt comes after the birthday, but it could be just a spring cake. Will Sunken City be part of the Rift? Interesting question. No immediate plans right now. We're kind of not putting it on pause, but we're taking a bit of a break from the Rift storyline to explore, kind of flesh out some other things in the game before we return to the Rift, especially because it's getting very, very high level right now as well in the Rift. So I think we need some other high level non-Rift areas. Get another Grand Duke, Archduke level area in the game before we keep adding more high level Rift areas. Tribal Isles Rift, asks Devin. No immediate plans, but that seems like it would be a fun one. It's certainly big. That would have to be a really big Rift area to incorporate all sorts of different tribal mice, and the dragon would have to feel appropriately epic to track down in the Rift. MLC suggests Platinum Crowns to be official. That's been in the back of our minds as well. Actually, we were talking the other day, and we were trying to maybe think about MouseHunt version 5. I guess we'd be on 5. No, 4. We'd be on MouseHunt version 4 now, and wondering if we would call that MouseHunt Platinum and bring out Platinum Crowns at the same time. But no immediate plans to put Platinum Crowns in the game, but nothing stopping hunters from setting the goal for themselves to get 1,000 catches. How's the new area doing? Any updates? Currently, we're not working on a brand new area. We're working on the birthday, and Franco's now getting the spring egg hunt put together. But as I said, we got a little bit behind schedule. We had some technical challenges with a few releases that ate up some more time than we had scheduled for. But we're trying to get back out ahead of that. So hopefully, once the birthday's kind of wrapped up and we start testing that, I'm hoping then to start working on an area that will come out after the spring egg hunt. And so hopefully now we'll be 2 releases ahead of ourselves and get back into that more comfortable rhythm that we were used to for a couple of years. Tyler's working on collecting cogs for the new Rift trap. Me too. I've yet to get the time split dissonance trap. I was slogging away in that in the Bristlewoods Rift. That is an epic trap. Takes a while to get. I'm still working on it myself. Do we have to wait 4 years for a winter sports mouse? That is a bit of an issue of sort of celebrating the winter and the summer games, is that they don't come around all too often, so to be able to access those mice. That said, we had both winter and summer games mice out, even though it's the winter game. So that was another opportunity to collect those mice. We were also chatting around here. The team was thinking about putting them maybe in the tournament hall and adding a little bit of just light gameplay around something sort of competition and sports theme. You know, let us know what you think of that, to basically move them out of the event mouse section. We're trying to trim down the event mice a little bit over time. As the years go by, there seems to be more and more event mice. It's also a challenge when we go to balance events because there are so many mice, especially the Great Winter Hunt, that now new players are coming in. They've never caught one of the Great Winter Hunt mice, and because there are 50 of them, they all have a relatively low attraction rate, making some of them kind of tricky to encounter. So we're looking for ways to maybe trim that down a little bit, but we're kind of waiting for the inspiration to make sure it's done well. We don't just want to kind of cop out and, oh, we'll throw these mice here. We'll make the island of forgotten event mice, and you just go and hunt them there. We'd like to do something a little bit more creative to pay homage to those characters and not just sort of, you know, make them less special than they are right now. We want them to feel just as special. Lots of fashion in the background. Somebody just said in the chat that flew by as I was reading, but yeah, there's a lot of tailoring theme. You got the fabric of time. I believe we're going to call these pausing pins. And oh, Giorgio named that. I forget what the spool was named. He had a cool name for it. What was it called? Let me see. We were toying around with different names for a bit. Space-time spool. Like that. Space-time. It's continuously spooling. Space-time, continuum, spool. What's going on? And as Kaz says in the chat, the Great Winter Hunt mice are hard now. I can't silver them. And yeah, that's a bit of an issue as we add more and more mice to that one event. They all become difficult to encounter. That's it for the birthday theme. To kind of loop back to the birthday, it's going to be time travel themed. So you're going to be jumping around through years 2008 to 2017. You can freely sort of time travel and shift between each year, and the mice that you encounter are going to depend on the year that you are currently hunting in. So when you time travel to 2012, the event mice that were released in 2012 will be the only ones that you're encountering, along with a few other mice that were also released in 2012. So you're going to have a lot of choice, a lot of autonomy, or rather a lot of control over the mice that you're encountering. So it works out well for this theme. But things like the Great Winter Hunt has been a challenge, where you don't always sort of have those modes or those places to choose which mice you encounter. Frank suggesting a Lunar New Year Hunters theme. That seems like an oversight. I agree, we should have one of those. Maybe next year. To remember for next year to do a Lunar New Year journal theme. Franco had another suggestion. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but for the spring egg hunt, I don't believe any of the event mice drop eggs other than the 10 sort of main eggs, the plaid and the scalloped egg, the golden egg, of course. And he suggested, because he was thinking about the cooked egg, I suggested the scrambled egg from the cook. The pan slammer mouse is also very cooking themed. But how do hunters feel about these actual spring egg hunt event mice dropping eggs themselves? Or should it be left to non-event mice as sort of all the bonus eggs that you go out and find? Coffee's getting cold. Seems a bit off theme. It works. Scrambled egg works well with the pan slammer. Sure, why not? Hard to attract all those. Stick with non-event. No to the spring egg hunt dropping eggs. I prefer non-event. Okay. So a little bit mixed, but it seems, from small sample size syndrome here, but from the 6 hunters that I read the chat for, it's leaning towards no. This is my sign for leaning. Make it 11 core eggs. That's another possibility. It's just creating another sort of special egg that you can only get once. Ranger asks, what's the plan on the nanny bot? No immediate plans, but parental might be retired at some point. Maybe with the Archduke area. We're planning to incorporate every power type in the game. That might be a good opportunity to change the power type of the nanny bot and do away with parental. Extravaganza eggs from event mice. I'm all for trying to work egg puns as much into the egg hunt as possible. Any chance to use excellent, or extravaganza. Put the pan slammer at the windmill. That's an interesting suggestion of, we're going back to the topic of moving some event mice away from being specifically event mice. Some of the cooking themed mice could be in the windmill. A lot of baking, a lot of bakers showing up to get their flour, and they're also, I was just over at the farm, I got some eggs with me, and now I'm getting the flour, and now I'm getting caught by hunters. It's a rough day. My shopping day was going so well. Just out getting some groceries, go home and feed some other mice. I was going to say family, but that would have just been kind of too sad to think about the mice out grocery shopping for flour to go and feed their families, and hunters are catching them. But no, it's okay because they're evil. The mice are all very evil and mischievous. Which ties in with the nanny bot. We were a little concerned with the 8 years ago with the Terrible Twos mouse being a toddler-themed mouse. It felt a little grim to have the mouse death bot go up against a toddler mouse. It felt a little bit weird to us, and hence the nanny bot was born, as only a non-fatal or non-lethal trap could be used against that mouse, but has not withstood the test of time 8 years down the road. All right, on that note, at the half-hour mark, we'll move on to trivia, and then we'll say goodbye here. So the trivia question, if everyone's ready, If anyone gets it correct in the chat, Larry will have a reward link for everybody. See, Eugene. Eugene's concerned as well about the Terrible 2's mouse being captured by the death bot. It was a little disturbing to us. This week's question. There we go. See, I was waiting for people to randomly start guessing numbers, but the answer to the question is not a number. Well, there's numbers in the answer, I suppose, but it's not a straightforward number. When was the first costumed mouse released for Lunar New Year? I should say first Lunar New Year costumed mouse. Lunar New Year costume mouse. I'll update that question. 56 is incorrect. 42 is also incorrect. Those are not valid answers. 2010 is correct. I think Swift had the first part of the answer. Can someone get the month now? Ooh, this chat's moving fast. Could someone guess the month? 2010 is correct. I think Swift got the year correct first. Gonna wait for that delay to check out February. There you go. Avinash, if I'm saying your name correctly, had February is correct. And can someone get the date? Now here's the time to spam numbers. There's really only, well, it is February, so there's more than one possible max number here, depending on if it was a leap year. 2029, I like that guess, but that was incorrect. So we got February 2010. Anyone know the date? Everyone's frantically going to the MouseHunt timeline and checking as I did this morning, so let's hope it's correct there. The 22 is incorrect. Oh, there's a lot of numbers. Oh, I probably missed it. This is a lot of numbers. February 48th is a little high, I'd say. Oh, still, unless I missed it here. No, 14, no, 16, no, 11, no. 10, so close. No, with the close 10 guess. February 9th, 0 error. Had made 0 errors and had the day correct. February 9 is correct. I'm going to type that in the chat to end this madness. February 9, 2010 is correct. All right, type that in the chat. The numbers. Flying. It's like watching The Matrix. Just things flying upwards. All right, and a reward link. And I'll get that reward link up on the screen in case you're watching this recorded later. Stuck with us 33 minutes waiting for this Larry link. Congratulations, it's on its way. Oh, why can't I type? Uh-oh. Putting up a reward link. Where am I gonna put it? Right there in the corner. Fade it in. Okay. It's the song you sing when you're putting up the reward link. Thanks for Temporal Shadow Plate. You're welcome. This week I wanted it to be a Temporal Shadow Plate, so this week it is a Temporal Shadow Plate. Yep. Thanks for the TSP, Larry. See, everyone's saying the TSP. Oh, Sandblasted Metal. Okay, see, you've ruined it was a combo breaker there. Darn wrong with the Sandblasted Metal. Everyone committed to that Temporal Shadow Plate. Fake out. How about a Chrono Master mouse dropping an egg timer, suggests Ben. That's getting message to Franco as well. Oh, Sorry, I was reading. I had another message from Giorgio there I was reading. Thanks. Don't thank me. Thank Larry. Larry is the generous one that has access to all these nice items. Ben said they got curds and whey. That is false. I don't think he did. Larry does. Larry's usually not that stingy. Extend the Lunar New Year event, please. Well, we'll see. Right now it's planned to end on Wednesday. We're originally planning it for it to be 2 weeks because it is a pretty juicy event. There's a lot of loot to be found. It's pretty significant in terms of the rewards that you can earn from it. So with that in mind, it's usually got to be a little short and sweet. We had a little bit of downtime, so we were going to extend it 1 day to Wednesday, which is February 21. And that is to say, unless I'm totally wrong with my dates, that is sort of what I'm infamous for, saying a day and a number that don't line up. February 21 is indeed a Wednesday. that's it. We'll keep an eye. Maybe Monday, we'll kind of check where hunters are at, see what sort of enthusiasm they're still going for the Lunar New Year event. Check how hunters are progressing, and maybe we'll extend it a bit. But it's kind of difficult to extend it much past Wednesday. We typically don't like to do things on a Friday, at least anything too significant. And even on a Thursday, it's just a little bit too close. That's why Tuesday is usually that sweet spot when you see game updates arrive, because it's nice. You get in after the weekend, and you kind of last-minute issues or little polish, little tiny fixes we can do on a Monday, and then Tuesday is a nice natural day to do a game update. And anything later in the week, just too often, problems would spill into the weekend if people aren't available to take a look, and then that kind of hurts the game overall in case something goes wrong. So that's it. It's unlikely to maybe extend it a little further than that. It'll be difficult because I think it'd have to go into the next week after that, which might be a little long for such a loot, juicy event. Ranger suggests a death egg for the Reaper Mouse. If you open it, it just resets your game progress. You gotta start over. Your hunter dies. Franco's confused with these random messages I'm barraging him with. February 21 is my birthday. Thanks for extending it. You're welcome. Happy birthday, Stev. You can tell everyone it was because we were waiting for your birthday. Happy birthday in advance. Don't be wrong with dates on Valentine's Day, asks Zong. Zong. Not sure how to say your name. Really liking the art there. I'll pass along the feedback to the art team. I believe Jacob drew the Taylor mouse over there, and I think he even did that live on a Feedback Friday art edition. And I believe Maxine drew the items above, the sort of time resources that will be collected. The servers weren't down that long, says Julia. It was kind of up and down a little bit. Our host had some issues with one of the machines. It wasn't able to connect to another machine that we rent from them. And so we tried to get a workaround to get the game up sooner than that. So we brought up a different server that was sort of in a different pool on a different network so that we could get the game back up right away. But then we had some compatibility issues with that new server that we brought online, and that kind of led to some issues, but we worked those out and got that new server kind of fine-tuned with a different operating system. Give Glitchpaw an egg too? I think there might be a Glitchpaw egg. Let's check. Let's check it out now. Funk Soul Brother right about now. Collectibles. Eggs are collectibles for some reason. No, they're convertibles. What am I doing? I'll finish my coffee eventually. I'll get there. Glitchpaw. Nope, there's no Glitchpaw. Well, I guess that would be a little awkward because a Glitchpaw would have to be out every spring egg hunt. But in some ways that might be kind of nice to know at least once a year there will be Glitchpaw mice. Alright, fully caffeinated. Caffeination complete. And on that note, I should head out and go put my caffeinated brain to use the rest of the workday. So thanks for joining us, hunters. Thanks for the feedback, the excellent egg suggestions. I passed some of those along to Franco to jot down. I'll post a summary in the tavern section of the forums, as well as my Facebook page. I'll post a little dev journal summary of Feedback Friday as well. Jacob will join you next week as I am off next Friday, but Jacob will be here to draw something no doubt delightful. I always think it's a little bit more interesting to see him paint things than look at me chatting away. And then I'll probably join you the following week, and then the birthday event will be just about ready, so that should be a cool time to do some teasers and a little sneak peek. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you 2 weeks from now. Jacob will see you next week. Happy hunting!